Welcome back to the Full Force Fathers podcast. So glad to be back with you guys. Happy New Year from Dave and I. We are into January of 2023, believe it or not. And it's a great day. Sun is shining. It's now warm again in Southern Virginia. I don't know about Tennessee, but it finally warmed up. We got through that nasty cold around Christmas. And I'll tell you, man, we had a New Year's Eve just a few days ago that was 68 degrees.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it was really cold here for about a week. Then we got into the 60s again, and I'm like, all right, I can deal with this. It's not quite Tucson, but it's also not Alaska, because man, it was cold. Every night I was worried about pipes freezing in the house. Matter of fact, you had some frozen pipes. Get your blow dryer.
Let's not talk about frozen pipes, or let's talk about frozen pipes, okay? Well, first of all, in Southern Virginia, all the people that I've talked to that live here had never experienced how cold it was last week. It legitimately was below zero with the wind chill single digits at night. And yes, I was the one who had frozen pipes. Dave just mentioned I had to wake up one morning. It was about 4 degrees out, and went to turn on the hot water and nothing. And I said, oh boy, here we go. And sure enough, as those of you that know us, Carp is a great friend of ours, and he's also a great plumber. So I gave him a call. He's like, yeah, your pipe's probably frozen. I'm like, it's not even funny. Like, I'd never had frozen pipes. I don't live in Connecticut anymore, you know. Sure enough, there I was out there with a freaking hairdryer, blow drying the pipes to make the freaking hot water heater work. It worked. But then just when you thought it was over, that following night, went to get all my girls took showers. I did the dishes, and then it was now my time to take a shower. Water was ice cold. And I'm like, why don't I have any hot water? And call up, FaceTime Carp. Carp goes, it's probably this. There's an error code blinking. Now we have an on-demand hot water heater, which is the greatest invention ever, I guess, as long as it doesn't freeze. So they call it a tankless hot water heater. So just turn on hot water and it's hot all the time. And it's been amazing for the last year plus. But anyway, so the second time there was an error code blinking, and I talked to Dave that at 10 o'clock. I was outside with a hacksaw cutting pipes because the freaking exit pipe, the condensation pipe, was frozen. So, yeah, 2 times in 24 hours I had to play plumber and get my hot water to work again. So, yeah, so the hell with cold weather. I can't wait to not deal with it ever again. But it's been an interesting few days.
I think it shows you, too, the value of having people in your circle that know things and that you can count on for things, I mean, for you to be able to call somebody who's got experience in that field, he probably saved you a boatload of money having somebody come out and figure out what was going on and fix your issue for you. So, just surrounding yourself, that's part of Full Force Fathers, right? We're there for each other, help each other out. And I think that's a great example of it.
Oh man, think about that. On a weekend, if I had to call somebody out on a weekend to
holiday weekend,
come out and do that would have been wild, but the hell with it. So we're good. We're all past it. It's been warm now. We got water. We're not worried about hot water and all that other shit anymore. Yeah. So, but welcome to episode 43. It is the first episode of 2023, which is awesome. So, number 43, Dave, not hard to live up after you have a number 42 like we did. But 43 does have some good players. I'm not going to say there's not any good players. I mean, the great Troy Polamalu, the Steelers safety, Dennis Eckersley, the pitcher, probably most well known for his Oakland Athletics days, but he also did pitch for the Red Sox. I mean, 43 was, like I said, following in 42's footsteps was not going to be easy, but this is probably like a 10 seed in the tournament. I'd say 10, 11 seed, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple decent names. You got Darren Sproles out there. Good football player. I mean, again, he's not upper echelon, but as far as 43s go, he's there. Rick Sutcliffe was a name on there that kind of stood out to me. He was a great pitcher, and I got the chance to work with him a little bit at ESPN, and good guy. So he made our list. And Brad Doherty, another one, worked with him at ESPN on the NASCAR side of things. He was a NASCAR analyst, and hell of a guy. He played for the Cavs, right? He was a Cleveland Cavalier.
Cavalier.
And why you did the research for this? Why do I know the name Raul Mondesi? I can't.
He was a baseball player for a lot of years.
For who?
He played for multiple teams. Probably best well known for the Dodgers.
Okay. All right.
Big thick quads, big power hitter. Another sneaky one on here. If anyone watches the NBA or follows the NBA, a few years back when Kawhi Leonard went to Toronto for that one season, remember they beat the Warriors in the final, the big heavily favored Warriors in the final. Pascal Siakam, the kid from France, wore 43. He was a great role player for them. He's still, I mean, obviously we're only in 2022. He's young. He's still in the league now. But Pascal Siakam, TJ Ward, another good safety that was on there. 43, respectable list, but nothing to write home. I think 44 is going to be interesting next week. I think we're gonna have a couple good number 44s in there. But let's go right into the Bible verse today. It comes from Proverbs, and it's going to tie in today's episode. By the way, we are going, because it is a new year. Dave and I, Carp, a few other guys start 75 Hard tomorrow. So the day after this releases, we start 75 Hard tomorrow. So we are going to do a New Year, kick your ass in gear, 75 Hard episode. How 75 days can change your life for the better in all aspects of your life. So starting with the Bible verse comes from Proverbs chapter 18, verse 9. One who is slack in his work is brother to one who destroys. Guess what? On 75 Hard, there's no slacking allowed in 75 Hard. That is why I pulled this Bible verse out of Proverbs today. The one who is slack in his work is brother to one who destroys. If you are slack with 75 Hard, you fail. End of story. There's no getting around 75 Hard. You can't half-ass it and actually do it. You have to be all in. There's no dip your toe in the water 75 Hard. There is all in 75 Hard, or there is nothing 75 Hard. And the other thing I want to reiterate, I see it all the time, and Dave will get a random phone call from me on a Tuesday. It is not a fucking challenge, okay? The people that say, I'm doing the 75 Hard challenge, it is not a fucking challenge. Yes, I'm swearing because it pisses me off. This program has become a vital part of my life, a crucial piece to my puzzle. Thank you to Dave, who's on the other side of that camera, because Dave is the first one to do this of anybody I'd ever known. He's the first person that ever introduced me to Andy Frisella. And I have taken off and run with it. Starting tomorrow will be the third consecutive year that I start 75 Hard on January 4th, which is Finley's 5th birthday. So her 3rd, 4th, and 5th birthdays, I have started 75 Hard now for the 3rd year in a row. This program will change your life if you do it the right way, start to finish. All areas of your life, your health will be better, your fitness will be better, your finances will be better, your sex life with your wife or your girlfriend or your partner, whatever your case, will be better. Your parenting will be better. Is there going to be some suck in it? Hell yeah, there is, especially for those that have not done it before and don't know what they're walking into. But I cannot you just can't understate how important this program is to my life. I know it is to your life, Dave, and the benefits that you get from it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. When you're on the program and you're doing it the right way, the gains you have in every aspect of your life, as you just mentioned, are exponential. I think most people look at 75 Hard as a health piece because you're working out twice a day. You're doing 90 minutes of physical exercise, and that takes a toll on a body, but it allows you to shred weight and just get rid of it. I mean, I remember the first time I did it, my Lord, did I lose a lot of weight, and I lost it fast. And depending on how you do it, how hard you go, it makes a difference. But the other areas of your life that get better, the financial side, when you're focused on your business or your work, whatever it is that you're doing, it makes such a difference because you're pouring yourself in. People are seeing the effort that you're giving at work, the extra phone calls you're making if you're on the sales side of things, and that comes back tenfold. And you're creating this power list for yourself, the things that you have to get done. And I don't think there's anybody out there that can say having a list, a to-do list, a power list, whatever you want to call it, isn't beneficial because it makes huge gains in whatever area of your life you're working on. So yeah, your finances are going to get better. Your relationships across the board are going to get better because we'll talk about the phases in a bit if you do the Live Hard program. But one of the phases is talk to a stranger every day. Introduce yourself to somebody new. For me, that was really hard. But those are the different things. Those are the areas that can just make your life better. And when you're on it, you just feel like you are the best version of yourself at all times. And quite honestly, 75 days, when you look at how fast 2022 went by, 75 days it's over in a blink. It's over in a blink.
You start now, you're done by the middle of March. Literally, the middle of March.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Absolutely.
There ain't jack shit going on in January and February. I don't care where you live. Besides what? Valentine's Day in February?
Super Bowl. Super Bowl and
the Super Bowl party.
Day, yeah.
Well, there's nothing else. There's no better time to do it than now. And 75 days is a long time, but it's also like Dave said, boom, blink of an eye. It's over in 75 days. And at the end of those 75 days, if you do the program and you stick to the program the right way, you will be a completely different person on the other side. And this is coming from someone who's been a fitness nerd my whole life. I mean, pro athlete father, great athletics ability all through my family, whether me, my brother, my sister, it doesn't matter, cousins, uncles, all great athletes. I did this program and I got in even better shape than I would have. I'll never forget the first time I did 75 hard, I did Goggins 4x4x48. Remember that challenge that Sam and I did?
Yeah, I do.
Dude, I made 48 miles look easy. I literally averaged 8-minute miles for 48 miles. That was because I was like on day 65 of this program when that came out. I was almost done. I was on the home stretch. And once again, I'm a fitness nerd. I'm a junkie. I love to work out twice a day, all the time. And this made me even better. So if you think you're already in great shape and you have no, foundation or basis for this, you're wrong. Because what it does for you on the mental side is going to make it even better. And Dave, why don't you run through the actual program? Just run it down exactly what 75 hard is, all the tasks, the daily requirements of it. And then what we're going to do on the show today is we're going to talk about a lot about the program and a little bit about each of us that have done it, what our probably our best benefit from it, what we gained from it. What was the hardest, what was the easiest. But I want Dave to start off and just go down the actual program so you know exactly what we're talking about when we say 75 hard.
Yeah, so 75 hard is its own program in itself, and if you choose to go on to Live Hard, that's something that incorporates your 75 hard time, but it's something you have to do in a year. But right now we're talking about 75 hard itself, and it's fairly simple. Like when you hear these things, it's all pretty simple stuff. The first thing you got to do is you got to follow a diet. That for some people, you got to spend some time. You got to find the right diet for yourself, and that's what you need to do for 75 days. There's no deviating from the diet. So you're not, you're not able to be like, yeah, I like this diet for the first week, and okay, no, it's not really feeling it. I got to go to a different diet. No, you got to stick with that diet for the entire 75 days. So that in itself can be a challenge for somebody, but I think once you get that honed in, I think the rest of the program gets a lot easier. Okay. And as part of the diet, you can't have any cheat meals, no cheat meals whatsoever. A lot of diets out there be like, oh yeah, work your ass off 6 days a week. And then Sundays or Saturdays, whatever it is, you go have a cheat meal and just go crazy.
Yeah. Refeed day or some bullshit like that.
Yeah. It's stupid. Can't do that with this program. There's no ice cream. There's no candy. There's no pizza. There's none of that stuff. You can't have it for 75 days. So that is another one that people, I think, have a hard time with. But, if you're following the diet, if you're doing that part, no cheat meals should be fairly easy. One that was tough for me in the beginning, but then I got used to it, and I do it all the time, is drinking a gallon of water every day. I know for you, usually I'm talking to you in the morning, you're like, yeah, I'm already a gallon and a half in. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. But drinking a gallon of water. So finding, that right rhythm, getting yourself a water bottle and knowing how many of these water bottles I need to drink in the course of a day to be able to hit my gallon. That is another huge piece of the puzzle. You got anything on those first few that we talked about?
No, the diet. Let me be clear, like Andy says about this program. There's no specific diet you have to follow. It's not like you got to be keto or you got to be this one or that one. You pick your diet, you stick to it. Create the discipline in your life, whatever your diet is that you pick, whether you do Weight Watchers or I don't even know, whatever it is. You pick to it, you stick to it for 75 days. The water thing is, like you said, it's extremely hard for most people. For about 8 years now, I've only drinking pretty much water. I have a cup of black coffee in the morning. And that's about it. I only drink water all day, every day. I don't drink soda. I don't drink, very, very rarely. I'll throw in some coconut water or a little bit of Gatorade, depending. That's even my kids, my wife. So the water thing is easy because I drink about 2 gallons of water every day. So the gallon of water, which can be very hard for people, didn't tend to be too hard for me. But no, yeah. And the other thing, water's water, people. Water is not putting Crystal Light in your water, your stupid Mio droplets that you can buy at the store in your water. It's fucking water. It's all it is. Get a gallon of water from the store. Buy 75 gallons of water from the store. It'll cost you about $60. They're about 80 cents a gallon, okay? And just put them in your garage. And dude, that's it. Just make sure you drink it, all right? Or if you have well water, drink it out of your tap or whatever your case. But water's water. You're only drinking water.
Yes. And that is hard when people are like, well, I'll just mix this in. No, you're not doing the program. You're not doing the program the right way. You fail. Start over tomorrow. I hope the Crystal Light packet was worth it.
Yeah.
Okay. The two most time consuming pieces are the 2 45-minute workouts. Okay. So I think that's where people can get hung up, and you really have to structure your day. But this is what the discipline is about. This is teaching you to structure your day, utilize the time that you have in your day to the maximum potential, because most people will not think twice about sitting down and watching an hour TV show that's really 43 minutes or so. By the time you take all the commercials out, they won't think twice about doing that. But now you got to get up off the couch, you got to go, you got to work out. And one of those 45-minute workouts has to be outside. So depending on where you are, I was in Tucson for a while. You were too, but I was most recently in Tucson. A lot easier to go outside and work out once a day for 45 minutes in Tucson because it very rarely ever rains. And it's usually a pretty fair temperature. You can find a fair temperature at some point in the day. And then your other 45-minute workout can be inside if you like it to be. They can both be outside, but one of them has to be outside. And the other thing is they have to be 3 hours apart. So you can't just go work out for 90 minutes and say, good, my double 45 is done. You can't do that. You've got to structure it the right way through your day so that you're doing 45 minutes at one point, and 3 hours later or longer, you do the other 45 minutes. So you just got to get them both done in your 24-hour block of time. Any thoughts on the workouts?
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm very interested for you this year, believe it or not, because this go round for you will not be. You have been spoiled by Tucson. And in my first go round of 75 hard, I was spoiled in Tucson. But I was here last winter when we did get snow on January 3rd in Virginia. So I did get a little seasonal winter for my 75 hard that started last year. Go ahead, you want to say something?
That being said, the first time I did 75 hard, I started in July.
Yes.
So it was 115 in Tucson. So you get the other side of it too. But you know me, you're right. I don't like the cold at all. So this is going to be extra.
And it's going to be extra hard for you because for you, here's the other kick in the pants for you. You still have 2 months of winter left in Tennessee. Okay. And your work schedule doesn't let you work out in the middle of the day. So your two workouts are going to be pre 6 a.m. and post 5 p.m. So your two workouts are going to be in the suck of the day, not in any part of the nice part of the day. When we got spoiled in Tucson, I work from home. You were working from home. We could work out whenever the fuck we want. Hey, Dave, I'll see you at 9:30 at the park. Let's go. Like part is not there. And that's going to be interesting because, like you said, you just had snow. You had below zero temperatures in Tennessee. Like you are going, it's not Connecticut by any stretch of the imagination, but you're still going to have some harsher conditions to work with. And to put into perspective, I'll still work out on 115 every day over 15 any day of the week.
Oh, for sure. No doubt about it. I am complete with you. So that's I think that's the toughest part is finding the time for 75 straight days because life happens. Stuff happens. You might have a vacation planned. You might be getting on an airplane for work. You might have, you might get sick. Your kids might get sick. You might have these situations.
You might be driving across the country.
Really hard. Yeah, you might be driving across the country. Yeah, dude, like this shit happens. Life happens. So that's where, we say 75 hard. 75 days isn't a lot of time. And it's really not. But you do a lot of stuff in 75 days. There's a lot of things that can come up in your life. So that I think is the hardest one for people to just religiously stick to on the program.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And it's things come up, life happens. That's why a schedule is so important. Discipline and structure are so important on this plan. All right, I
can't wait to get going again. Like this last few weeks since the move and the holidays, I've been so out of routine and out of sync. Like 75 hard locks you back in, and that's great. So the other things are pretty simple on here. Maybe not for all people, but they are for me. No alcohol. That's an easy one for me. No alcohol for 75 days. I know it is now for you too. You've been years now with none. Reading 10 pages in a self-help book, self-development, things like that. Whatever it is you're into, you can read, weight loss books, you can read business books, market, and anything that's going to make you better. 10 pages a day, piece of cake. And you've got to take a progress picture of yourself every day as well. So you got to strip it down. I mean, you don't have to. We do. Strip it down. see your body, take that picture in front of the mirror, and you got to take it every single day. And it's, you know what, it's not so much so that you can see the transformation. It's really the discipline of doing the little things in your day that make all the difference in your final outcome and how you live your life. So those are the last three pieces for me that I find are the easiest parts, but they're so simple that they're easy to forget, and that's the thing.
The closest I've ever come to failing 75 hard was a progress pick, believe it or not. I literally was half asleep at 4 a.m, like I am every morning when I wake up. And I went into the bathroom and I brushed my teeth, I washed my face, and I walked out. And I completely forgot. And then I, all of a sudden, it was 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I went to check off a box, and I freaking realized I didn't take my picture. And I caught it, but that was the that little thing of taking that daily picture. The other thing that I will harp on here for a minute is the alcohol thing. I haven't had a sip of alcohol since I started 75 hard the first time. So 2 full years, no alcohol. This is now into my 3rd year without alcohol. And let me tell you something. There is not even a tiny one thing, you name it, that has been negative about not putting alcohol in my system. Not one thing. Super Bowl party, birthday party, beach, vacation, you name it. My life without alcohol. Not that I was a drinker beforehand. I was a social drinker like most people. You know what I mean? You have drinks at holidays. You have drinks on the weekends. You're hanging out by whatever the case may be. Alcohol is such poison for your body, for your mind, for your soul. It's not. I mean, it's so debilitating. Alcohol, and it's so promoted in this country. If there's anything that pisses me off more, it's professional athletes watching a football game and every other ad is an alcohol commercial. Like, it's poison. Period. End of story. And the fact that 75 hard, it's been over 2 years. I'm in my 3rd year of no alcohol. I still can't in 3 years, in over 2 years, saying, oh, I wish I did at any point. So that's my little rant on alcohol. It doesn't do you any good.
Yeah.
Never.
Nope.
There's never a time where it's needed or it does you any good.
Nope. It only gets you into trouble.
So we have, let's recap 75 days. Diet, stick to it, no cheat meals. A gallon of water a day. 2 workouts a day. One has to be outside, minimum 45 minutes. They have to be 3 hours apart. Progress picture every day for the 75 days. Read 10 pages in a self-development book, self-help book for all 75 days. It cannot be an audio book. It cannot be a podcast. You actually have to have a physical book in your hand. I don't know if you mentioned that, but you actually have to have a physical book. You can't read it on your Kindle. You can't read it on your iPad. You have to have a physical, hard copy, paperback book in your hand and read a minimum of 10 pages in it every single day.
And for those of you who say, oh, it's going to cost so much money to get a book, I have a book in my hand, go to the library, get a library card, go to the library, and take a book out of the library. It doesn't cost anything.
I've given that tip before. Go to the library. I can't tell how many books I've read throughout the years of 75 hard from library books. There's a million library books out there that are self-help. Did I touch on everything? Is that everything?
It's just the no alcohol again.
Yeah, no alcohol.
I don't think you said the gallon of water.
Yeah, gallon of water. So. Yeah. So that is 75 hard in a nutshell, guys. All right. Sounds easy when you're just talking about it. Doing it is a totally different thing. We are starting tomorrow. 75 hard. Okay. I'm going to be upfront and honest here. My program is not coinciding with Dave's. So I am doing 75 hard starting tomorrow, but I am starting phase 2 tomorrow. Phase 2 starts for me, which is 30 days. And then I'm just going to go the 45 days of 75 hard with Dave and Carp and whoever else does it, just to keep going on the program with them. But this is Dave mentioned earlier in the show, the Live Hard program. Dave has completed the Live Hard program. I have not completed the Live Hard program. To do the entire Live Hard program, you have to do 75 hard, and then there's 3 additional phases. There's phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So you have 75 hard, and then phase 1, and then phase 2, and then phase 3. So I am now on phase 2 starting tomorrow, which is 30 days of 75 hard. But before we get ahead, Dave, quickly, because once again, the point of this show is 75 hard. It's not all the phases that follow it. Yes, we'd love to see everybody do the Live Hard program, and I promote it, and I would recommend it. Go over phase 1. I'll go over phase 2. You jump into phase 3. And so everyone kind of gets a whole entire wrap up of the entire Live Hard program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for phase one, we'll make it simple. You do all the same stuff on 75 hard. That's that's non-negotiable. You do that. You add to it a 5-minute cold shower. It's not a lukewarm shower. It's not a warm shower. It's a cold ass shower, and it is brutal.
I know.
You add that in. Yeah, you add that in. Cold shower. You do 3 critical tasks. You add that to your power list. So your power list essentially is the things you were doing on 75 hard. You're adding 3 things to it. So whether that, if you're in sales, making 10 extra phone calls, 10 phone calls, or whatever it may be, you're adding 3 things to your power list. It's not your typical to-do list. It's not mow the lawn. It's
Brush
things
your
to
teeth.
make you, it's things to make you better. It's extra phone calls. It's, quality time with your kid, if you want to pencil in quality time with your kids, no phone time, things like that, things that are going to make you better, make your relationships better, your life better. And then the other piece of it is visualization. It's 10-minute visualization session with yourself.
Dedicated.
Quiet, dedicated to it. Now, you can do it while you're in the shower if that's what you want to do. If you're showering and you want to visualize while you're standing in a cold shower, you can do that. But it's time that you dedicate to yourself 10 minutes thinking about the future. What do I want? Why am I doing this? What benefits am I looking for? What gains am I trying to make to get myself to this next level? Things that I want to achieve in my life. And that's phase one.
So phase one is all of 75 hard. Then you add 5-minute cold shower, 10 minutes of dedicated visualization, and 3 extra additional critical tasks. Okay.
Yep.
And it's how long?
It's 30 days.
So it's 30 days. So it's 30 days of 75 hard plus the additional 3. Okay.
Yep.
Phase 2, there's a caveat. You have to take a 30-day break in between phase 1 and phase 2. You cannot go finish phase 1 and then start phase 2. You can go to phase 1 directly starting after 75 hard if you'd like. But if you want to still do the program, you can do the program. But it does not count as phase 2 unless you take a 30-day gap before you start phase 2. The whole point of that is it's a mind fuck. It is to get you out of routine, to force you back into routine, to see if you have the spine to do it, if you have the mental capacity and toughness to get back into it after you've gotten out of it. Okay, so I finished phase 1 right before Thanksgiving. So my 30-day break was essentially December. All right, I still worked out every single day. I didn't stick to 75 hard. I had desserts for Christmas and Thanksgiving and cheesecake and you name it, and chocolates and candies and cookies and all that good stuff. Still stuck to my workout, still stuck to my water and that, but I did cheat off the diet. So my 30 days is now up. So I am starting phase 2. Phase 2 is essentially 75 hard. It's all it is, but it's only for 30 days. It's just everything that's 75 hard, not phase 1, just 75 hard. The diet, the no alcohol, the water, the 2 workouts, the 10 pages of reading, and the self and the picture every single day. That is phase 2.
And one thing I'd like to note too is if you fail at any point in this stretch, so if you fail at any point during 75 hard, you will go back to day 1. Yep. You start at day 1. You don't start over. Like if you fail on day 32, you don't start over on 32. You go back to day 1. It's the same thing in phase 1 and phase 2. If you fail at any point in phase 1, you go back to the start of phase 1. You don't go back to the start of 75 hard. You go back to the start of phase 1, which is your 30 days. Same thing in phase 2. Okay. And that 30-day gap, the only time you have that is between phase 1 and phase 2, because phase 3 is the last part of Live Hard. And that concludes, the last day of it is your 1-year anniversary. So it's been 1 full year of doing this program. And you have a couple extra tasks now. So you've done phase 2, which was all of 75 hard. You come into phase 3, you do all the things that were in 75 hard. You do the additional 3 powerless tasks. You do the 5-minute cold shower, and you do the visualization. And then you tack on 1 random act of kindness every day. And you tack on talking to a stranger, which is very hard. It was very hard for me. That was the toughest one. And those are the things that you add onto it. So you continue to build. And the thing is, though, if you fail during phase 3 because it ends on your anniversary, you go back to the beginning of 75 hard, because you can't restart and finish by your 1-year anniversary. So that's the one piece where there is no starting over. You have to do the whole program again. And that can be a real mind fuck.
That's where I'm excited, but also terrified, because mine will be summertime. So my anniversary is July 2nd. So I started 75 hard for the second time this past year on July 2nd. So June 2nd, I start phase 3, which I was totally banking on dropping the kids off at school, talking to a stranger, a parent. You know what I mean? Now it's dead middle of summer. So now it's like, I got to talk to a stranger in the middle of summer. So if I don't go to the damn store, I don't meet a customer or a potential customer, I'm in trouble.
You just nailed it. But that's what what makes this program so amazing, because your business is going to get better, because you're going to call people, or you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're going to meet somebody that might be a lead for your business, as well as a relationship that you're establishing. They might be a lead for your business, or they might have a lead for your business. So it is making you better across the board. So we just think, well, I talk to a stranger, but those are the situations. That's what's so great about the program.
Now, if for some unforeseen reason, tragic reason, I'm still in Virginia, can I talk to animals as part of my stranger? Because there ain't no fucking people around here.
No, you're gonna have to dial the phone. You're just gonna have to call random numbers.
I'm gonna go broke driving to town to meet someone every day.
Yeah, well, you could be like Sal and Q. You could pretend to be calling to sell a ring. Sell a ring, just start calling random people, start conversations.
Yeah, no, it's I'm excited for phase 2. I'm excited for phase 2 to start tomorrow.
That's great.
I mean, guys, this program is designed to make your life better. If you're in a bad spot, fix your life. If you're in a great spot, make it even greater. You know, real quickly, Dave, before we wrap this up, all right, we both are huge advocates for 75 hard. All right. The most important thing I'm going to tell you is it's not a challenge. Don't go into this half-ass. Just if you're going to go in half-ass, just don't do it, because you're going to piss people off.
Fail.
You'll fail, and you're going to piss me off. Okay. What is the quick question? I'm going to answer it. I want you to answer it. Then I'm going to answer it. Hardest part of 75 hard for you, easiest part of 75 hard for you. Go.
Just 75 hard?
Yeah, because today's really primarily, we want people to start 75 hard. What was the hardest? What was the easiest?
Easiest is doing 10 pages of reading a day. I think that is great because it's so beneficial. It's simple, and it really keeps you going on that. Hardest part is fitting in 2 45-minute workouts. Scheduling those and being consistent, that's the hardest part.
Okay. Easiest thing for me, the water, no doubt. Not even close. Because like I said, for the last 8 years, it's pretty much 98% of liquids that have gone to my body have been water. Hardest part for me, it's hard. The workouts.
It's hard to name the hardest part?
No, it's not, but it is. The diet for me is the hardest part. And it's not because I want a cheat meal. It's just because I am so such a creature of habit. I eat the same thing every day. The hardest thing for me, which I've said before on the show, it's not eating after a certain time, because that's one of the big things that I did for my diet on Saturday. I don't eat after 8 p.m. Now I'm a snacker because I don't eat a lot of I'm not a calorie consumer every day. It's not calories. I don't need a lot of calories to fuel my days. For me, it was always one of the hard stops for me on my diet was no eating after 8 p.m. And that's it. If I ate after 8 p.m., then that was a fail in my eyes. Okay, because my problem is I love peanut butter, I love popcorn, things like that. But it doesn't even matter if it was a healthy snack. 8 o'clock was the cutoff for me. That was so the diet part for me, because I'm not really a big junk food eater or calorie eater in general. Coming up with my diet was always the hardest part for me, and sticking to that diet for the 75 days.
Cool.
Okay, and then one more. What's the biggest, if you could tell one person right now that came up to you and why should I start 75 hard, Dave? What would your answer be?
Because you're going to be exponentially better in 75 days, and it's going to be obvious. It's not one of those things like, I think I'm better. It's going to be obvious that your life is better, that you are better in all areas of your life.
That's a great answer. Very similar. Very similar. I use the word better as well. I say it makes you a better person. So it's similar to what you just said, all aspects of your life. I just think you genuinely become a better person because you don't have no fog. You're thinking clearly all the time. You are disciplined. You are calculated in all the things that you do. You will find yourself in far fewer arguments with your spouse, far less yelling at your kids, arguing with your kids, frustration goes out the window. It's one of the very unsung heroes of 75 Hard is how much less frustration you have when you're on the program. Mm-hmm. Especially, I take that part from a work standpoint because you are operating on all cylinders. The little bullshit at your job doesn't phase you anymore.
Matter.
You don't get frustrated with the little shit anymore. So overall, 75 Hard, it makes you, I think, a complete person, a better person overall, top to bottom in all aspects of your life.
Yep, I think you're right. Well, so I think that leads us into our book recommendation. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It's the first time we've had the same book twice, but that's because of the show we're doing.
There it is, 75 Hard. It's going to tell you all the stuff that we just told you, but it's going to come straight from the horse's mouth. The guy who designed the program, Andy Frisella, he is an awesome listen. If you have extra time, you want to check out his podcast. He's great, Real AF. His book is fantastic. He gave us this program. He gave everybody this program free of charge. So if you want more information, you can go buy the book. You don't have to read the book to do it, but it gives you some insight into why you're doing some things the way you are. It's a great book. It's a super simple read. It's fun. It'll help. Hey, this can go towards your 10 pages every day. Okay. Yep. So use this towards your 10 pages. It'll keep you motivated going through the process. I love listening to his podcast when I'm on it because, man, it gets me fired up. So he's a very motivational guy. The book's motivational. The podcast is like, tune into this, use this, go pick it up. I don't know. They might have it at the library. They might not. If not, it's well worth the purchase online.
Yeah. And the other thing about reading, I'm glad you brought that up. It's 10 pages a day, guys and gals listening. It's 750 pages. Okay. That's it. That's 2 books, essentially. How many pages are in that book, Dave?
We have 200.
200. Okay. So
200 pages.
Depending on the book, 750 pages could be 4 books. It could be 2 books. It could be 3 books, but it's somewhere going to be between 2 and 4 books, depending on what you're reading. Okay. That's not that much. And the other thing I want to say too, I don't think you mentioned it. The program's free, 100% free. We just gave it to you. Andy gives it to you in any podcast that he's got 2 or 3 episodes on 75 Hard, Live Hard. Okay. We just gave it to you for free. If you're listening to our podcast, you can write down everything we just said, the task. But if there's one thing I do recommend, go download the app. It is $4.99 in the App Store. I think when I bought it 3 years ago, it was $4.99 in the App Store. I don't know if it went up since then. Download the app. The app makes it that much better because you can take your picture, upload it right to the app, so it's there. You don't got to worry about it. You got the checklist. So you can check the boxes off as you go along. You can set reminders. I mean, get the app. That is worth the $4.99. And
absolutely.
Don't put it on.
And you can have it as many times as you ever want to do 75 Hard or Live Hard. You have that app. It's not like you have to pay every time you do it. So you get the app one time, boom, and you get for the information and
you get Andy's face.
The information he's giving you.
Did you complete yesterday, you little bitch, or did you actually finish it?
Yeah, it's so great. Yep.
Anyways, guys, that is our first episode of 2023, episode number 43 of the Full Force Fathers podcast. This is your time, guys. Now is the time. Tomorrow, start on a fucking Wednesday. All right, like we've always said, it doesn't have to be the first of the year. It doesn't have to be a Monday, the first of the month. Start tomorrow. It's a Wednesday. What an excuse. What an excuse to get better. Start 75 Hard tomorrow. Live a full force life, guys. Episode 43 is in the books. Dave, take us home.
Yeah, everybody get out there, continue to live the full force life. 2023 is going to be better than every other year. Start the program with us tomorrow. You've got people here on your side fighting with you every single day. Continue to live the full force life, and we'll talk to you next week.